welcome to Massive Late Fee. And now your hosts, Mark and Carol. Well, hello again, everybody. And for the first time in this one, first time we've done this.
Of course.
My name is...
We never start over.
Welcome back to Massive Late Fee. My name is Mark. With me, as always, is my wife, Carol. How are you doing today, Carol?
Hey, what's
How
up?
much? It's been a good week here. It is September 24th, 1999. No news, just Mumfords.
Yeah, no news. No news today. Sadly.
We're almost to the end of 2000, Carol.
Yeah.
Do you want to try?
What?
We're almost to the end of 1999, Carol.
Do we need to start over again? Or are you going to get it together?
It was you that made us restart the first time.
I know. I'm just fucking with you.
It's all. Do you want to try to recreate our banter of?
No.
It's almost the year 2000. Do you guys know it's almost the year 2000?
And we're hoping the computers don't explode.
Yeah, exactly. But what did explode, Carol, was your anger at the movie Mumford.
It was not good. It was not good. I'm sorry.
Why?
It was boring.
Come on.
And stupid and obvious.
Oh my God! What the fuck? You're gonna make an enemy. You're gonna make us an enemy of Lawrence Kasdan, writer of The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. No one ever talks about that. He wrote Return of the Jedi too.
What?
Huh?
What?
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
See, those are all good movies.
Legendary screenwriter Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote and directed this film.
This movie, not so much.
Mumford.
So, like, the movie is about a dude.
It is.
Who goes to
Very
a small
specifically
town.
About it. Most of the movies he writes are about dudes, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tell me about that.
Luke, dude Skywalker. Mm-hmm. And Indiana Jones is a dude.
He is. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay.
I was making fun of you by saying it's about a dude.
Yeah. There are dudettes in here, too.
The only movie that's about a dude is The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
Remember when we watched that?
I do.
All right.
I do remember The Big Lebowski.
All right, let's get on with it then.
I'm trying. You keep derailing me.
I keep trying to make the show fun. Let's go.
How dare you? No fun.
5-minute episode we're going to do.
No fun allowed. Well, the movie was no fun.
Remember when we did Beverly Hills Cop 3 or whatever?
Oh, my God.
That was a 5-minute episode.
That was awful.
Yeah.
Awful. So this movie is about a guy who goes to a small town.
Wait a second, though. You know what's weird about that? Is that a fucking portal opened up in our recording studio, and we never talk about that anymore. Kind of like when Steve saw that truck just phase through the bus or whatever on 90210. I feel like we should be talking about that more.
Every day. Just like Steve should be talking about it every day.
A portal opened up and they took our tape. Anyway, go ahead. A guy moves to the town of Mumford.
And he says his name is Mumford.
Yeah. Well, that's not how the movie starts.
No, I know it's not how the movie starts.
Find the first person he sees and be like, my name is Mumford.
I'm just saying, like, that's another thing that was dumb. Like, why would you do that? Why would you go to a town, give yourself a fake name that's the same name as the town, and then be like, oh, no, I'm not related to the town.
Spoilers, by the way, everyone. Related to the town. Do you think everyone that's the same name as a town is related to the town?
If they live in it,
Charles.
and it's a small town, and it's a small town, then probably.
I'm Charles Springfield. I'm related to many cities.
Like Scottville, okay?
What? Scottville?
Scottville is a small town. And I feel like if there were people in Scottville with the last name of Scott,
they're
probably related to the founders.
Where is Scottville?
By Ludington.
Oh my God.
Or, here we go. Alabama. There's
the entire state?
Schattsville.
Schattsville, sure.
And my friend, her last name is Schatz, and all her cousins, and they're always like, oh, the Schatz girls from Schattsville, Alabama. Because, yeah, that's how it is.
What? Okay.
I'm just saying it's a thing.
That's how it is. You got it. He didn't name himself after the town. By the way, spoilers. His name's not really Mumford.
Mm-hmm.
He comes up. He gets the name Mumford first. Then he sees. That's explained in the movie. Then he sees the name Mumford as a town, and he was like, "Oh, maybe it's a sign." And he goes there.
I guess it was. I guess it was a sign for him. But
are you drunk?
Maybe I'm drunk on sugar. I don't know. I had a lot of candy.
Oh my god.
Had a lot of candy at the movie theater.
She's having a sugar high like the girl in Empire Records. Remember when we watched Empire Records?
I do.
That was Renée Zellweger.
Renee Zellweger.
Was her name, yeah. She's been in other stuff now.
Sure.
Yeah. Sugar high. Gotta have it, really needed to get by.
Okay. I don't know what you're doing.
That's the song from Empire Records.
I don't remember it.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
We need to rent Empire Records and watch it again. It's a good movie. Would you say Empire Records is better than Mumford?
Yeah. I'd say most movies are better than Mumford.
Oh, come on.
It's stupid. Like, it's obvious that this guy is a fake.
Oh, it's obvious to you because you work in the same field. You know stuff about psychology and
it wasn't
therapy.
Obvious to you.
I mean, I knew something was up. I thought it was weird.
Yeah, no, he's terrible. He's a terrible therapist, and it's because he's not a therapist.
I think that if he were better looking, that you wouldn't have as many complaints.
I don't think that's the case.
Because the whole premise of the movie is...
me shallow.
No, I'm saying the whole premise of the movie is based on his charm and his ability to seduce people both sexually and non-sexually. His charisma. Mm-hmm. And I think that because he's off-putting to you, looks-wise, no offense... I don't know the name of the actor that plays Mumford in this movie. Sorry, I didn't look you up. No offense to him, but you find him off-putting. So I think that takes away some stuff.
How did you... I've never told you, like, if I think he's attractive or not. I've never...
You are drunk.
I've never said if I thought he was attractive. Why do you say I find him off-putting? I never said that.
I said, do you think he's cute? After the movie. And you were like, no.
Oh.
Very definitively.
Well, I mean, I don't. I just didn't remember telling you that.
Because the teenage girl that he was trying to give therapy to or whatever that was obsessed with magazines was like played by someone. I looked up her name because it's a weird name. Zooey Deschanel.
Zoe. Who would be named Zooey? Zoe.
Whatever. It's a weird
weirdo.
name.
You're weird.
The fuck? Am I drunk?
I don't know, maybe. Everybody's drunk.
But anyway,
get drunk.
She was like, you have a lot of...
No, really don't, though.
You have a lot of characteristics of someone that would be good in bed, she says to him.
Yeah.
Did you watch the movie? You look confused.
I did watch the movie. I got bored and tuned it out a little bit.
Wow. What a disservice to our listeners.
It's also been a couple days since I saw it. So.
Well, I mean, like a day.
Like 2.
Anyway. So, yeah, he comes to a small town. Well, we open up. I don't even know where to begin with this movie. So here's the thing. I liked the movie, and I'll tell you why I liked the movie. You liked Dazed and Confused, right?
It was fine.
That's a... Okay, you said you liked it when we watched it years ago. You gave it a recommendation.
Okay.
That's like a hangout movie. You liked Go, right?
I loved Go.
That's a hangout movie.
Yes. This is not a hangout movie.
This is a hangout movie.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Why? What's the definition?
Because I don't feel like I'm having fun and hanging out with this guy.
But you're supposed to.
I feel like I'm a prisoner.
Well, that's what all his patients feel like. That's the point. He comes to this town, very small town, where there's one psychologist and one psychiatrist. And he's also a therapist or whatever, he says. And he is super popular. He's getting like a bunch of clients and everything. The whole first part of this movie, this is what I think is interesting about the movie. The whole first half of the movie is meeting these people. Just meeting his patients, meeting the characters in the town, and learning kind of what their problems are. We're learning about them. We're hanging out with them. The plot doesn't really kick in until halfway through the movie. Mm-hmm. When he admits to Mallrats Jason Lee that he's not a therapist.
So, Mallrats Jason Lee was probably my favorite character in the movie.
Skip Skipperton.
He was a billionaire.
Yeah.
Who was lonely.
Yeah.
And engineering sex robots.
That's your favorite type of person. Lonely billionaires. I know that.
Who engineers sex robots.
Yeah, he's trying to build a sex robot. What did you think of his sex robots dungeon studio, whatever?
I think that it's very likely that things like that either already exist or are being made.
He kept saying, like, don't you think I'm a freak? Don't you think this is, like, fucking fucked up? And it's like, if you think that, because it seems like you think that, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Mumford's just like, this seems like fucking cool, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure...
Quentin Tarantino showed up and he was like, can I just have the feet?
Right. Well, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would pay for that because, I mean, people pay for sex with live people. I would imagine they'd be just as happy or happier to pay for sex with robots.
Really? You think they'd be happier to pay for sex with robots?
Well, because you don't need to worry about getting an STD.
I guess that's true. VD.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a movie called Cherry 2000, and it takes place in, like, some dystopian future or whatever. But... the premise of the movie is there are sex robots, and they're like companions or whatever, right? And this guy's sex robot breaks down, and they don't make this model anymore. And he really he is emotionally attached and invested to this sex robot because there's upgrades and stuff that he could get, but he doesn't want it. So he goes on this like quest to find, I think, either the same model or the part he needs for his. I think it's the part he needs for his.
This is interesting. I like this movie.
The part that broke. And it's funny, too, because he goes to a bar and, like, towards the beginning of the thing, and, like, there are singles that want to meet each other in this bar or whatever. This woman comes up to him. I remember this specifically. And just shows him this thing, and it looks almost like... it looks a little like the cellular phones that they have now. This movie was made in the 80s, I think. But it's like flat with just a screen, right? Mm-hmm. And on it is just image of her having sex with someone else to be like, this is what I can do. Like, kind of thing. That's like how she's presenting herself.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right, to try to attract a mate or whatever. Or just to have sex, you know. I think she was just trolling for sex. And that's what all the people in the bars were doing. He's like, no, I don't want that. You know, I want my doll. Mm-hmm. So that's what that kind of reminds me of, is that this whole plot of him building a sex robot.
Interesting.
Here's the thing, though. He says it's not a doll. Everything in his little studio looked very doll-like to me. Like, I would think you'd have to use like silicone or something like that. You'd have to use some sort of material that would mimic the feel of human skin.
Sure. I mean, otherwise it would be gross.
Well, yeah, because it would feel like plastic, or so it wouldn't feel good.
You don't want to fuck plastic. I mean, granted though, like we you know, most of us women do fuck some plastic sometimes.
What?
Dildos are often plastic.
Oh, are they? Mm-hmm. Do you use a dildo?
No, but, you know, not like
on a
haven't.
Regular basis.
No. Just saying. I think a lot of women know what plastic feels like.
I thought you were referring to condoms.
No, those aren't plastic.
They're latex.
Yeah. Or Or what else do they make them out of? Sheepskin?
Yeah. Sheep intestine or something like that.
Yeah. So, okay. Other characters. Mm-hmm. Let's introduce all these freaks.
My God. That's how he deals with them too. How would you advise these people?
Oh, I don't want to work today.
There's
don't make me play therapist.
I thought that would be interesting to hear some of your takes on these people. But okay, so first there's Althea, who is married to Ted Danson.
Yeah.
And she's not happy, and he's not happy. And he likes to smoke pot and Cuban cigars. And he's like some rich fuck that's never home. That's the whole thing. And she has a big time shopping addiction where she orders stuff from different companies and hoards it all.
It's crazy. Can you imagine having that much money and then wasting it like that?
Well, yeah, because it's just like piled in rooms.
Yeah, it's not like she's using the stuff.
No. Because she just wants it.
Yeah, which we discover later, all on her own. He does not help her figure this out in any way. Mm-hmm. She just comes to her own realization that she is acquiring things because she feels like her husband acquired her like a possession, so she must possess things. Like, I think that's kind of stupid. I don't really feel like that's real.
Well, she also says that she doesn't think that that's the case. She's like, comes to that realization, but she's like, no, that's too simple. Plus, I still want to buy stuff. I bought some stuff today.
Mm-hmm. And like, she invites him to have dinner with her family. That's not a thing. That's not a thing a therapist would do, but he does.
Well, he does a bunch of things that therapists shouldn't do, like talk about his patients.
Yeah, he breaks their confidentiality, which, like, if he were really a therapist, he would lose his license because you can't do that shit.
Right, but that's the bonus of not having a license to lose.
Yeah, no, he's got nothing to lose in that regard. Yeah, so he just breaks confidentiality all the time. He hangs out with them. He, like the one he goes on walks with and does all kinds of things with, and it's like, that's not right.
We got to talk about them individually.
Getting hyped up here. Sorry.
So, I don't think he helps that many people.
He doesn't. No, the solution, this is one of the things that bothers me the most about the movie, is at the end of the movie when everybody's problems are like solved, it's because of romantic relationships. Right. Everybody found a romantic relationship and so they're better now. Yeah. Fuck you. That's not how the world works. A lot of times romantic relationships come with more problems. They don't solve them.
Yeah, because in some ways you take on the problems of your significant other too.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous and hackneyed.
But you love this movie.
I thought it was that's those resolutions. Because I don't think he helps a lot of people. I thought the characters were interesting. I thought it was well acted. I thought the characters were interesting. And that's what I liked about the movie. What I think is funny is, so when he tells Mallrats Jason Lee that he's not a therapist, he's like, well, what the fuck? Like, what's your real name? And we never find out his real name, by the way, either.
Oh, yeah.
What's your real name? And like, what the fuck? Like, how did this all come about or whatever? What happened? And he gives his story. He tells his story where he was super into drugs and alcohol. He went to college and he just like slept around and did drugs and alcohol. And then he had a bunch of odd jobs. And then he decided, oh, you know what? I should fucking actually use this degree. So he became an accountant and he rose up in the IRS to be an IRS investigator, which I didn't like. They're playing like fucking detective and shit like that. I didn't know the IRS had these people. But they're like staking out people and everything like that, like gathering evidence. They're putting pressure on this furniture guy that they're like, you fucking owe us money, you owe us back taxes, you're cheating or whatever. And he ends up killing himself. He has an affair with his partner's wife, and he's doing drugs this whole time, like cocaine and like all this shit, right? And he's telling all this to Jason Lee, and all this is presented in like a 3-minute flashback. And I'm thinking, like, write that movie. Like, that sounds like a more interesting movie.
Agreed.
Like, what the fuck? Where's the movie with the drug-addicted IRS, like, detective who's fucking his partner's wife?
Yeah, agreed. That would have been better. But we only get a minute of that. in the midst of all the boring talk therapy.
It's so weird because it's such an interesting little idea and like vignette, but it takes up almost none of the movie.
And it's so like unrealistic and fantastical in the middle of all this otherwise mostly normal interaction.
Yeah. But and the thing is like the guy comes across, and I'm sure this is deliberate acting choices, but the guy comes across so deadpan, like a blank slate. And I think that's why people like talking to him and like revealing his problems to him, because he just seems empty. Just seems like an empty blank slate, and they're all like, because he's like, I don't know, what do you think? How does that make you feel? There's heat.
It's like a trope or whatever, like, you know, how people think therapy works, but it doesn't. Maybe this writer has never, you know, actually had therapy, and this is what he thinks the therapist would do.
Are you too well-adjusted, Lawrence Kasdan? There's one part in the movie where he shows any like actual emotion. And do you remember what it is? The guy that has the sexual fantasies.
Yeah.
He's talking about like he's talking to him, he's like, you know, you're avoiding talking about what we need to talk about. And he's like, where's your wife and daughter or whatever? Or where's your wife and kids? And he goes, she left me. And he's like, she couldn't satisfy me. And he goes, what? It like comes out of nowhere. And he's like, I wasn't satisfying to her or whatever, you know, like, and
no, I think he said I wasn't satisfied.
I was never satisfied.
Yeah.
That is what he said.
Because that's the whole point of his problem. Mm-hmm. He has this fantasy life that real life doesn't measure up to, or whatever, which I don't, why are you shaking your head?
No, I'm thinking about him. I'm thinking about his problems and shit.
But I mean, the whole thing was stupid. Like, he has a fantasy life. His life sucks. Help him make his life better.
Well, apparently he does.
Not really.
By buying him pornography.
Not really.
And introducing him to Althea.
He didn't introduce him. They stumbled upon each other.
Yeah, I mean, it is weird because he doesn't like suggest that the Zooey Deschanel or whatever.
Zoe.
He doesn't suggest that she fucked John Ritter's son. John Ritter's son is in this. Jason, I think is his name. But anyway, he doesn't suggest that. John Ritter's son pursues her.
Yeah, and she doesn't want him to at first.
Well, she's all like, you know, and he's got ultimatums or whatever. I can't smoke. She's like, I'm not doing that. I can't do drugs. I'm not doing that. Can't fuck other guys. and he's like, you're not doing that? And she's like, when I said I'd try that or whatever
I'd consider that
to only be exclusive with him or whatever. And then she's like, and I have to quit reading magazines.
That's weird. That was a weird request.
I think Jason Ritter is the only one that actually figured out her actual problem, is that she is being sold these unreal expectations because she wants to lose weight and she's thin as fuck. Mm-hmm. Like, she's being sold these unreal expectations and unreal body standards and stuff of these people in these magazines and this life that looks like whatever. And I think that obsession with that shit is her real problem. I think Jason Ritter's the only one that's like, hey, this is how we do it. Like, this is how we break through this fucking cycle. Well, and I think he's right.
I guess that worked out.
But a lot of this movie is about fantasy life, being someone you're not. Mm-hmm. Because the dude that you guys would know him. I don't know his name. He's a character actor, but he's got that weird eye that, like, he's got that condition. I'm not making fun of him. He's got that condition where his eye twitches. He's wearing glasses in this movie, so I don't think you really see it a lot. But you know how there's some medical condition where, like, one eye is just like constantly twitching back and forth. He has that.
I have no idea. I don't know which character you're talking about. I didn't notice it.
The big guy, the big
not
bald
with the condition.
The big bald guy that was the pharmacist, the one that was having the fantasies.
Okay.
The 1940s fantasies or whatever. about boarding house women and their daughters that he wants to fuck or whatever. It's really weird.
Yeah, well, it's like old-time erotica.
Yeah, and like I was saying, write it down. Why don't you ever tell him, hey, maybe you should write some of this down. People might like to read this.
Well, see, maybe you would have helped more than he did.
Yeah, but I'm not a therapist either.
The worst one, though, is this poor woman who has moved home with her family because she has chronic fatigue syndrome following her divorce. And he, like, convinces her to start going for walks with him. And then she just gets better because she falls in love with him. Like, I don't even understand that storyline.
I feel like that the conceit of that is it was all in her head.
But, like, that's shit because chronic fatigue syndrome is a real thing. And I feel bad for people out there who actually have that. I mean, sure, I guess it could be in your head.
It's controversial because no one knows if it really exists. I mean, they know that people are complaining about it and stuff like that, but they don't know if it's an actual medical condition or a psychological condition because, unfortunately, it's a diagnosis of exclusion. It's a diagnosis of excluding every other cause that they can actually test for. There's no test for it.
Yeah.
I happen to think it probably is real, related maybe in some way to MS or something like that. It seems like it would be demyelinating in some way. But there's not nearly enough research or anything to know for sure.
But, you know, he just spends all this time with her and falls in love with her. And then she falls in love with him.
She does.
And then she's all better.
She does still seem kind of tired, though.
I guess.
Maybe because she's tired of being in the movie Mumford.
I would be. Boring and slow. That's how this movie was to me.
Her mom was a complete bitch.
Yes.
And, like... What was the point of that? Like,
to help explain why she had problems, I guess.
That really didn't go much of anywhere.
No.
And there were a lot of things that didn't go much of anywhere.
Agreed.
Martin Short is a lawyer. He's like the big lawyer in the town. And he wants to be one of the patients of the doctor. And he's talking about this story about like how it's the trope of the dream where you're not prepared for the test and you're naked and everything in school, but it's all the other way around. He's prepared for the test and everyone else is naked. Mm-hmm. It's weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
But he's like, oh, you're a freak, and he kicks him out. And so then he goes on a movie's long quest to discredit him that we only really get a glimpse of for like 10 or 15 minutes of screen time because most of the it's behind the scenes most.
Yeah, I mean he is the catalyst for eventually the guy getting caught
and having to do 3 months in jail. That's it,
and pay $1,000 or $2,000 fine.
Yeah,
that's like nothing.
Yeah, that's a big slap on the wrist.
So, yeah, apparently you can just go pretend to be a therapist and make lots of money pretending to be a therapist and treat people poorly and then pay $2,000 of the money that you made and spend a few months in jail.
That's true. Like, he probably made way more than that doing this.
Yeah.
Don't try this at home because we don't know what state this takes place in.
Definitely don't do that.
We don't know what the actual penalties are for this.
Plus, it's just a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, and you're probably not a blank slate like Charles Mumford or whatever. Like, what was his first name?
I don't know.
No one ever called him anything except for Doc or Mumford.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Like, he was not a very well fleshed out character, honestly.
No. Everyone else was, though. Like, what did you think of Lily?
Which one's Lily?
The black lady that
owned the house.
Jason Lee falls in love with.
Yeah. I mean, I was not impressed with her. She had very little to do. There was very little to her character.
Yeah.
And it didn't make sense to me. The billionaire falls in love with her, but they have no interaction. It's just like sight unseen, and she's older than him, and all. I mean, like the whole thing was weird.
Because she has a dog named after Danny Ainge.
Yeah,
and he also likes notable pariah Danny Ainge. Fuck the Celtics. And also he likes salad niçoise, and she was making that.
Yeah.
So
that's the start of a great relationship.
Absolutely. I remember when you made stuffed cabbage, and I was like,
It did?
you must be mine.
Did I make you stuffed cabbage? I don't think I ever did that.
What happened to yes and?
Sorry, I was afraid that I did it and I forgot. Because it's the kind of thing I would do, but I didn't remember doing it. I hate stuffed cabbage.
I know you do, and I love it. I haven't had it in a long time. Gwumpke.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Listen, I'm going to be totally honest with you. There is something about this movie that I like. So, would I suggest going to see in the theater? You know what? I would say you can wait to rent it. But I think it's worth a rental. I think it's worth a couple hours of your time. There's something, especially Jason Mallrats' own Jason Lee's character. I think there's something worth it about some of these characters. I think they're interesting.
His character is the only character with any kind of energy on the screen. The rest of them play like they're asleep. I don't like it. But when he's on screen, it helps. I'll give you that.
I'm going to assume that you're going to say...
Don't waste your time.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
That's what I'm going to say. Go watch The Sixth Sense again.
Agree to disagree, I guess.
Like, watch that after you get a spoiler.
This isn't as good as The Sixth Sense. I mean, jeez.
I'm just saying, you can just, instead of seeing this, you know the spoiler, go watch it again.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe you don't know the spoiler. Maybe you haven't seen The Sixth Sense yet.
Well, then definitely go see that instead.
Listen to our video or listen to our tape about it.
Get on that shit.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, that is the episode for the week. Carol, why don't you tell people where they can find their own therapist?
You can write us at latefee1994@AOL.com.
But she will not be your therapist.
No, I will not. Check out our website at www.retrolatefee.com and share the tapes with your friends.
All right, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.